Have your kids spread their wings yet? Have they flown so far away from the nest that it requires a plane, a train, and an automobile and a ticket with an Airbnb booking to go see what they're doing? We need to talk. A few months ago, we talked about my daughter. She got this job offer in Connecticut. I live in Tennessee. In case you're new here and you don't know and you can't hear the cornbread in my voice, I live in Tennessee. She took the job. She took the offer. Y'all, she took the offer and moved to Connecticut, and then I found out by way of social media. So what are you going to do when your kid takes this huge step forward in the journey of building their own lives and leave you behind and tell you about, you got to find out fourth hand from social media? Nothing. Not a damn thing you can do about it. These kids are grown, y'all. They are grown-ass adults. And they're trying to start their new life, and they know they've got one shot. And they see it. And they take it. And they don't think about calling mom to ask permission. They don't think about calling dad to say, can you help me? They just do it. I did the same fucking thing, but I was in my middle 30s. It was a different situation, but I made the choice. 2 weeks later, I was on my way to Alabama with my dog and all of my clothes in the car. I mean, all you can really do in this situation is just support them. I support my daughter. I'm fucking proud of her, y'all. She's got this chance at this grand life adventure. And she took it. She wasn't afraid to take it. She wasn't afraid to move forward into the mostly unknown. I mean, she's familiar with the work she's going to be doing, but has never been to the state of Connecticut for any reason at all. It's a totally new situation. And even though she has lived for the last several years 5 or 6 hours away, depending on Nashville traffic, it's not what I consider to be the far north, which is so far away, but there's distance anyway. So there's no real difference. It's done. There's no use in getting mad. There's no use in being hurt. We had a talk. I reached out to my daughter and I talked to her like a grown up. And we talked about communication. We talked about how important it is to stay in touch. And I reassured her and reminded her that as long as she's happy, I'm happy. She is living her life, not mine. And I'm not living her life. It's hers. It's just like she's not here doing this. And that's okay. This is my life. I mean, you can sit there and just like, well, they're not ready. They're not ready to be this far away from me. Honey, it's sink or swim time. I didn't ever know if I was going to be in a position where I could pack up and leave, where I came from. I mean, I'm 10 minutes from where I was born, but I never knew if I was ready or not to take such a big leap. 500 miles, that was my move. I moved 500 miles from where I'm at right now to where I was for 2.5 years. It was sink or swim. There were times I swam and times I sank. I learned a whole lot. And now my daughter has an opportunity to sink or swim on her own. And so far, she's swimming. It's the only way that they're going to learn who they are without, the friends they've always had, the places, the environment they've always had. We don't grow as people from doing the same thing over and over, and from, we either do or don't do. We make choices based on other people's decisions. We're not going to learn anything that way, and our kids aren't going to learn anything either. If we're just telling them, hey, I did something like that and this is what happened, and you expect them not to do something because you had a bad luck experience with it. But that doesn't mean they're going to. That doesn't mean they're going to make the same choices that you made. They have to live their own lives. She's like, there's no turning back for her now. She is um, basically waiting for the keys to their and it's a really nice, like qualifies as if you had to pick a place to start from and it was the best place possible, that's where she's going. She's had the starter apartment, she's had the dumpy little cheap apartment that you make comfortable because that is where you live. Now she's gonna be comfortable, but she's got to work for it. So what you do when they're already gone, you can't do shit. Support them. Keep the lines of communication open. That is the most. And I had to talk with mine about this. We had a heart to heart, and I told her, I said, I'm going to talk to you like you're an adult because you are. And I told her exactly how I felt, and I did not do it in a hurtful way. Please do not misunderstand. I told her how it made me feel to find out she'd made this big move and then announced it. And she said she didn't tell really anybody before she left. I said, honey, you told social media. And we agreed to do better about communication. And I've talked to her since then, so it works. Sometimes they get so busy and so involved in what they're doing, they forget the rest of the world exists. Both of my kids were like that. My son, he would get in his room and he had Hot Wheels cars, and he would line them up in a row in different areas in his room, and he would try to get them in perfect order in the way it felt right to him, and forget that anything else was going on. I would have to go find him to bring him in to eat supper and stuff. She was the same way when she got older. She would get so focused on whatever it is that she's doing, nothing else exists. And she continues to do this as an adult. She gets very focused on her work or some project she's working on, and in her last job, she didn't have a lot of time for herself and things she wanted to do. So whenever she did get that time, she was gone to a place that didn't get cell service. And that was actually based on my advice. So I can't really complain too much about not hearing from her as often as I would like. But just make sure they know that you're there at any time of day or night. Put them in your do not disturb list. It's okay to wake you up in the middle of the night, because sometimes they're going to need their mama in the middle of the night, even when they're 27 years old. Something else you can do, and this is what I'm doing. We take a trip every Mother's Day, usually within a few days of Mother's Day, the middle of May, we go somewhere. We've been down to Gulf Shores a couple times. That's where I lived when I was in Alabama, and I love it down there. I miss it so much. And we've been down there a couple of times. We went to Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Last year we went to Colorado, to Cripple Creek, Colorado. All those videos are here. I just love sharing them with people. I love going on these adventures and sharing them. And it means so much that I get to do this with my daughter, because I didn't really get to raise her through my own actions. I was not a good mom. I've talked about that many times here. So I value all the time I get to spend with her now. And I'm considering vacation venues to the Northeast. I don't know. There's not a lot in Connecticut that I found that looks fun. If you are from Connecticut, or somewhere in Connecticut that is fun, drop it down in the comment and I'll check it out. But I'm considering East Coast vacations this year, just so it's more convenient for her, because I'm going to have to fly no matter where I go. I'm not driving 12 hours. That's not happening. Back on topic here. Just support your children. They're grown, Don't try to persuade them into doing what you want them to do, because it's better for you. I'm not going to lie. I could use her help here sometimes, doing certain things in the house, moving furniture, things like that. But I'm not, she, up until now, has lived 6 hours away. It would have been stupid of me for her to try to talk her back into coming back here when there's not much opportunity for her. And where she was in Pigeon Forge, there's lots of opportunity. And she's found that she's very good at working in hospitality. So that's what she's doing in Connecticut. I mean, you don't get job offers like that by not being good at your job. Support your kids, but just don't persuade them. Don't try to talk them into anything. You know, if you can see they're about to hurt themselves, absolutely pull their hand away from the fire. But sometimes you got to let them learn what fire feels like. And that's hard. And when they live a plane ride away, all you can do is love them fiercely and then let them go. A friend used to tell me that all the time. I never fully appreciated what it meant until recently. Love them fiercely, let them go. They are not living our lives. They're living their own life. And they're learning how to build a life. What works, what doesn't work. Did you ever learn how to do anything by doing it right the first time? I didn't. I had to fuck it up real good before I ever learned anything. Now, thankfully, her head's not as hard as mine. But she's smart. She's got a great job. She's making more money than I am. I mean, if that is considered a win, baby is winning. And I know she'll be okay. I trust her. I have faith in her. And if she's not okay, she knows where I am. Anytime, day or night. If this video resonates with you and you have found it helpful and informative and you want to hang out with me and talk about more stuff that happens to real women, honey, you're not alone. We are in this together. Hit the subscribe button, please. Hit the subscribe button. I'm working so hard to get this channel up. I want to hit 1,000. Let's do it. Let's hit 1,000. Leave a like on the video. That actually hits the algorithm right in the sweet spot. I'll see y'all in the next video.